is for me. And I'm going to play this very short clip of Yuval Noah Harari talking about the one person that's standing in the way of their plans would be Donald Trump. And he's very open about this.
Are you concerned that Trump might be elected again shortly?
I think it's very likely. And if it happens, it is likely to be the kind of like the death blow to what remains of the global order. And he says it openly. Now, again, it should be clear that many of these politicians, they present a false dichotomy, a false binary vision of the world, as if you have to choose between patriotism and globalism, between being loyal to your nation and being loyal to some kind of, global government or whatever.
Gary, that was just a month ago in Davos. Again, that was Yuval Noah Harari, an Israeli. He's a thinker, commentator. He's part of the World Economic Forum leadership. I think what astounds me is they're so blatant, they're so upfront. Look, the man who's standing in the way of our agenda is Donald J. Trump. Now, making this comment is not a political statement by you or me. It's just a fact. This is the way they're thinking.
Yes, getting national sovereignty away from the countries of the world, that has been their biggest task in order to have a new global society, a world government organization, and a global economy as part of that world government. So here in the United States, you have a people who have been fiercely independent because our ancestors, for the most part, came to the United States to get away from kings and autocrats and tyrants telling them what to do. So getting the U.S. on board, they thought they could do that by putting the UN on U.S. soil, whereas the League of Nations was in Geneva. And that helped their cause some, but people have become more and more skeptical, seeing that the UN's interests most of the time are not those interests of the U.S. They don't have our best interests in mind. They simply don't. So this is all about power and how to consolidate that power globally. And they see Trump as standing in the way in the U.S. because he's been very outspoken against globalization.
Yes, he has. Very outspoken. It troubles me because, and again, not a political statement here, but even Alex Soros came out a week or 10 days ago and suggesting, quite bluntly, assassination. So when we start talking up front about using those kinds of terms in public, I get quite shocked. I really do.
Yeah, they want to make the world more and more interdependent, so they cannot have an independent U.S. And the first thing Trump would do if he's reelected is the energy, the oil would flow again within the U.S. We have enough oil for the next 50 years or more, and that would run our economy and make us less dependent on the rest of the world, and they cannot have that. So that's just part of it. And, of course, the border crisis, that's very intentional. If people haven't figured that out by now, this is just one other way that they're trying to bring down the United States and destroy us from within so that we're easy prey for a takeover.
So they promoted the idea of a polycrisis, claiming that the world is now contending with multiple crises. Again, pandemics, climate crisis, multiple wars. I might go there in a moment here. Economic turndowns. The World Economic Forum is warning that even as we turn our attention to new crises, the old ones persist. That's their words. Now, Gary, they're talking about a coming pandemic that is 20 times more deadly than COVID. I want to introduce this, and then I want to get your comment on it.
World leaders gathering in Davos, Switzerland this week are going to discuss Disease X, a hypothetical virus 20 times deadlier than COVID-19.